Today, we will delve into a fascinating and, at the same time, harrowing topic: the worst punishments in the history of humanity. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share this incredible content. Now, let's explore the dark side of the past, where cruelty found its most terrible forms. Let's deepen our knowledge of the Judas cradle, a medieval torture technique that chills you to the bone. Originated as an evolution of impalement, the Judas cradle was a cruel form of punishment used in different historical periods. In this method, victims were made to sit on sharp wooden pyramids while additional weights were applied to their legs. This configuration not only caused unbearable discomfort, but also forced the victim's body to gradually separate from the bottom to the top. The slowness of the process intensified the suffering, making each moment an unbearable torture. The Judas cradle was not just limited to physical agony; the lack of hygiene further aggravated the situation. The wooden pyramids were often filled with dirt and germs, exposing victims to additional infections and illnesses. This aspect contributed to the formation of a macabre environment, where physical pain mixed with the anguish caused by unhealthy conditions. Furthermore, it is worth noting that the execution of the Judas cradle had no practical purpose other than torment. Unlike torture methods aimed at obtaining confessions, this ritual was a demonstration of extreme cruelty, fueling the oppressive power of those who carried it out. As we explore Judas cradle, we delve into a dark chapter of history, revealing human ingenuity in creating inhumane methods of punishment. These practices, although distant in time, highlight the importance of recognizing human progress towards more just and compassionate societies. Let us now enter the intriguing world of the torture counter, a sinister table used throughout the Middle Ages as an instrument of suffering and coercion. This practice, also known as stretching, has evolved into an enhanced version, characterized by more sadistic elements. The torture counter basic structure consisted of a wooden table on which the victim was placed. His hands and feet were firmly tied to the extremities, while a mechanism with wheels and a handle allowed the body to gradually stretch. This process was often carried out in an extreme manner, exposing the victim to excruciating pain. In the transition to version 2.0, the torture counter has become even more terrifying. Iron spikes were added to the table, penetrating the victim's back during stretching. This grotesque refinement intensified the suffering, transforming the balcony into a truly terrifying instrument. The torture counter main purpose was to compel confessions from the accused. The extreme pain resulting from the stretching and the presence of the iron spines made this technique highly effective in extracting information or confessions, although they were often false due to the intensity of the torment. It is crucial to recognize that the torture counter represents not only physical brutality, but also psychological brutality. The constant threat of being subjected to such suffering created an environment of terror and submission, highlighting the dark depths humanity has explored in search of control and punishment. By examining this practice, we reaffirm the importance of evolving towards more ethical methods of justice and punishment in modern society. Let's uncover the horrors of the blood eagle, a torture practice that stands out for its brutality and the historical uncertainty that surrounds it. Although some consider this technique to be pure legend, many historical accounts suggest its existence in the hands of Norse warriors. The blood eagle was a bloody and sadistic ritual that was supposedly performed by the Norse during the medieval period. The victim was subjected to a terrifying procedure that involved cutting into the back to expose the spinal column. Then, the ribs were turned outward, resembling wings outside the body. To complete the torment, the lungs were removed while the victim was still alive. Although there is controversy over the veracity of this practice, its detailed description in some historical records adds a layer of horror to the imagination. Norse warriors, often associated with brutality in battle, would have used the blood eagle as a form of extreme punishment. The cultural and religious context of this method makes it even more intriguing. The belief that the victim could not demonstrate weakness, such as screaming during torture, to secure his place in Valhalla highlights the connection between physical cruelty and the mythological beliefs of the time. However, uncertainty about the authenticity of Blood Eagle also reminds us of the complexity of exploring ancient torture practices. The mix of legends and historical facts creates a veil of mysticism around this technique, leaving us with an ambiguous and, at the same time, disturbing vision of the past. Let's explore the intriguing maritime method known as kill howling, a brutal practice employed by Dutch and French sailors during the 16th century. This peculiar method involved punishing crew members in unique and terrifying ways. In kill howling, the victim was hung outside the ship with a rope, quickly pulled down and then lifted up again. This action caused the victim's body to rub against the ship's hull. The practice served not only as a form of punishment, but also as an effective method for cleaning the ship's hull of the barnacles and crustaceans that accumulated. The peculiarity of this method lies in the duality of its function, to punish and maintain the ship in adequate conditions. Sailors at the time believed that this punishment would not only discipline offenders, but also contribute to the effective maintenance of the ship, ensuring its efficiency during sea crossings. This technique reveals a unique connection between shipboard discipline and the practical demands of sailing. Sailors, facing adverse conditions at sea, developed methods that served both as a means of correction and as a strategy to keep vessels in operational condition. However, while kill howling reflects the harshness of maritime life at the time, it also highlights the peculiarities and innovations that emerged in the context of oceanic travel. A practice that combined discipline and pragmatism, representing a unique and, at times, crude chapter in the history of maritime punishments. Let's delve into the disturbing practice known as smash heads, a torture method used during the Spanish Inquisition. This instrument of terror, despite its apparent simplicity, caused extreme suffering, highlighting the unimaginable cruelty unleashed in the search for confessions. The smash heads consisted of a device composed of a horizontal metal plate and an adjustable vertical press. The victim was positioned under the press, with his head under the horizontal plate. The torturer would then turn the screw, compressing the victim's head between the two surfaces. The result was broken teeth, fractured jaws and, in some cases, even dislocated eyes. The primary purpose of this method was to extract confessions from the accused, using intense physical pain as a means of coercion. The simplicity of the head smasher contrasts with the severity of its consequences, making it an effective but cruel torture tool. This instrument not only caused intense pain, but also left obvious physical marks. The suffering inflicted by smash heads was not limited to the moment of torture. Its consequences remained visible as a testimony to the torment suffered by the victim. When analyzing smash heads, we are confronted with the brutality of the Spanish Inquisition and the willingness of its executioners to use extreme methods to obtain confessions. This practice, although repulsive, serves as a grim reminder of an era when cruelty was justified in the name of justice and religious orthodoxy. Let's delve deeper into the disturbing method known as rats in the bucket, a torture practice that challenges the limits of cruelty and ingenuity. This technique, often portrayed in works of fiction, reveals a dark side of human creativity when it comes to inflicting suffering. In Rato's No Bucket, the victim was placed in a terrifying situation. Rats were placed inside a container, usually a bucket, and placed on the person's abdomen. The bucket was then heated, forcing the rats to desperately look for an escape route. In some cases, the rodents ended up biting the victim in their frantic attempt to escape. The peculiarity of this method lies in the mixture of physical and psychological elements. The imminent threat of rats, animals often associated with fear, combined with the increasing heat of the bucket, created an unbearable experience. The victim, in addition to dealing with the rat bite, also faced thermal agony. It is notable that this practice not only inflicted physical pain, but also exploited the most primitive instincts of human beings, generating unparalleled psychological terror. The victim, upon feeling the rats moving under the heated bucket, experienced mental agony intensified by fear of the unknown. Although the historical veracity of rats in the bucket is often questioned, its presence in popular culture highlights the human fascination with torture methods that transcend the boundaries of conventional horror. These chilling stories remind us of the brutality of the past. If you enjoyed learning about these scary practices, share this video so that more people can be surprised by the story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any impactful content like this. Until next time, guys.